Hello, Jeff Solomon here from FreePromoTips. I'm excited about this session called Entitlement Consumerism. Now, we've assembled a panel of amazing ladies here, and somehow they came up with this title, Entitlement Consumerism, but it very much relates to our industry and just business in general. So it is going to be a great informative session. Now on the panel we have Sydra Newell from SnugZ USA. She's the sales manager there. SnugZ is a great company. We also have Grethe Adams, the president of Southern Plus, another amazing supplier. And we have the amazing Charity Gibson. She is the top banana at Green Banana Promotions, and also a promo kitchen chef. So she is all about helping people through Promo Kitchen and through her business. Charity's great. Now, we are sorry that Andrea Smith, the industry relations manager from Vernon, is unable to join us for the session. She is amazing as well. We've had some great conference calls over this, but some things have come up and she's unable to make the session. So we'll have her back another time. And before we get started, I do want to thank our title sponsors for the SuccessTracks series. These are the companies that have caught the vision of what FreePromoTips is trying to do, and they are SnugZ USA, Warwick, and also our good friends at AIA. So thanks very much for taking some time to watch this session. We know it's going to be great for you, and let's jump right into Entitlement Consumerism.
Thanks so much for having us. Happy to be on with Sydra and Grethe today. We are going to be discussing entitlement consumerism, what it is and how it affects your business. Grethe and Sydra, you guys there?
We are. Yeah. I am.
Very good. Well, let's start off by kind of defining what we came up with as entitlement consumerism. As a collective, we, again, just stating we had some amazing calls leading up to today's presentation. We kind of talked about how educated end users have a plethora of information. With Google and Bing and probably even some of our free databases out there, supplier websites, more than ever, consumers and end users are well educated, or at least they think that they're well educated with the click of a mouse. So they come to us knowing it all or thinking that they know it all. And it's right on the slide, it says they're wanting the best quality, the fastest production times, the lowest price. And as a distributor and as a supplier to us distributors, I think that can be overwhelming. What, Sydra, how have you experienced this in your capacity and in what you do and how you perform within the industry?
I think what's really important as a distributor is showing the value of the products that you're proposing to your client. And one thing that I've noticed with millennials, especially managing many millennials, is that they want their opinion to be considered. They want to be engaged in the process. So I think taking, when they come to the table with the information they've collected or their point of view, it's really important that they feel valued. And then it's also important to take the information that suppliers provide to you. We have many statistics in terms of our products and how they're used. For example, lip balm. With a lip balm is used statistically 60 to 90 times. Also, with a lip balm, you can talk about the ROI. You can sell a lip balm for $1. If people use it 90 times, it's about a penny per usage. So those kinds of stats that can create value in the products you suggest that help show the end users why that is a viable product for them and helps achieve their goals, I think it really helps them to feel considered and gives you the opportunity to seem as though you're the expert.
Right. And so that you talked a little bit about, staying relevant and kind of what we have to do. We can't, the two choices that we've kind of come up with that distributors and suppliers have, we can either kind of reject the emerging trend and we can kind of, like you said, well, they don't know, and we can just go off as we're the expert and kind of reject their opinion, or we can feed the beast. And so we talked about it, kind of boils down to the adapt or die. So you got to stay relevant. We can't, there's no avoiding this trend right now. It's the way that media is marketing to the country. It's the way that we, even as consumers, are being marketed to. We're probably all a little bit guilty of entitlement consumerism ourselves. I don't know How you guys feel about that?
I'd like to talk a little bit. I love this line, "Feed the beast." And by the way, for the purposes of this session, I'm putting my distributor hat on. In addition to publishing free promo tips, I've been around a long time. I am a distributor, and I deal with the beast. Believe me, I'm dealing with some beasts right now, and this whole entitlement consumerism thing is why I love this topic. I think many distributors might find that the beast/clients are, can be fairly demanding and expecting. Just to give you some real-world examples, perhaps some of the distributors in this conference can relate to. So I have one client that I really should probably fire, but I don't, and I'm getting run around to buy samples for them, and samples are a cost of doing business. But in one case, they want to see a product in hunter green, which is their color, and black. Yes, we want to see these two colors. It's like, well, I'm sending you hunter green, and black is black, and so, but at the same time, as we're talking about being relevant and this relationships and so forth, I guess, but maybe there's boundaries. I don't know. Hopefully that's not too off topic, but I want to bring it into the real world because this idea that, and I guess these clients feel entitled. It's like, hey, this is what I want. You do that for me. Does that make any sense? Sorry if it doesn't, but.
This is Sydra. I just want to jump in. I think the word entitled has a negative connotation attached to it, and I don't think that's what we're trying to say. I think that buyers are, they buy products attached to their values, and so I think it's really important as a supplier that I make sure that I identify the values of the distributors that want to support us, and as distributors, they identify the values of their buyers. And so what's important to them? Is it environmental safety issues? Is it supporting products that are organic? Is it price? Is it lead time? Is it something really savvy and modern? Is it something they've never seen before? Is it something that looks custom? Like, what goals are they trying to achieve, and what values are important to them? So I think it's really important on both fronts, as suppliers and distributors, we really listen and understand the values of our buyers so that we can meet their needs.
Well, I would agree with that wholeheartedly, but I think sometimes we get bogged down because we either feel, and it may be an incorrect feeling because of assumptions maybe that we put out there on our clients because we're not asking enough questions, but I think sometimes we feel like they want all of those things. Customers want it to be eco-friendly. They want it to be cost effective. They want it to be CSPIA compliant. They want it to be, all things to all people, up and down. It has to be on time. It has to be, and I think that is the trap that we are kind of caught in because. Generationally, I think that definitely the generation coming up is. They kind of do, it at least appears that they want everybody that they do business with to be all things to all people all the time. And you totally touched on a great point that we have to ask more questions. We have to help them narrow it down so that they can understand, they can't have everything. They have to choose. It's either, one thing or another, but they can't have it all.
I just have one comment as well that for us as a supplier to be able to help the distributor to be knowledgeable about the product and know the benefits of say in our case, a bag, for example, and an umbrella, is to open up the communications between distributors and suppliers. Sometimes some distributors will kind of hold back some of the information, and that will not allow us to provide the best possible advice or suggestion on the best possible product for a particular project. So I think that's one thing that could help in the, suppliers and distributors in working together and making sure that, the consumer gets the best possible advice and solution.
This is Sydra. I was just going to say, and I am very much in agreement with Grethe, and one thing that's available to distributors is all suppliers have an immense amount of sales tools that are available, whether it be the data on statistics, samples, complimentary or a small charge for spec samples, virtuals, videos. Definitely when you have your favorite suppliers, tap into the resources that we've created for you and to help create that value for your presentations, and also to to help the end user see all the things that Charity is talking about, where you have to incorporate all of this value on so many levels. I think that the tools suppliers provide are underutilized, and we would love for you to take advantage of those.
And I have one comment here too, if I may, but one of the effects that we see from the fact that customers have access to information anywhere and immediately, and it's that the sales cycle is much shorter. So customers, they make buying decisions in a matter of hours or even minutes, and often without even seeing an actual sample. So to us at Southern Plus, we think we feel like the key here is to save time, to be able to provide information to the customers very quickly. So we have focused on tools on our website that will help the distributor getting this information to their clients as quickly as possible, and things that could take hours, if not days, now you can do in a matter of minutes. And we're talking about not just individual virtual samples, but uploading a client's logo and have it appear on every product in every color, and email that within 3 minutes, or preparing customized sales presentation where you can quickly drill down to particular features or price points or colors that this customer is looking for, and then being able to again either email it straight to your customer or save it or print it out. So these tools, again, we think the key here and the focus for us is on time savers.
Well, and I would agree. We're talking about feeding the beast and the big retailers. You're looking at Amazon. You're looking at places where people can order product in real time. The positive side, obviously, they pay in advance and expect their product to come later, which is, I think, an interesting little paradigm shift. But just the fact that they can search for any product, they can get it. If they can't get it on your website, they'll get it on 10 other websites. They'll find it for a lower price. And so, for a supplier to really be proactive and develop those tools that allow us as individual human beings to compete with the machine, I think that's really cool. And it really kind of helps for the purpose. And that goes right along with the slide that, develop the tools, help the distributors. But then on the second side of that, there is a flip side. You can have the most amazing front end, all the tools in the world, but if you're not accessible, and then when we place an order, suppliers are not dependable, they kind of, puts a wrench in the entire process. So just being aware of all of that. So that's from a supplier side. So then from a distributor side, what does that mean for distributors? So I know, Jeff, you're going to be able to help me out here, but watching retail trends and staying in contact with our clients is such a huge thing. I know I was at Claire's the other day with my 8-year-old daughter, and they had these sunglasses with a quote-unquote soda pop opener on the arm, which obviously, it's a beer bottle opener, but I immediately snapped a picture and sent it to one of my suppliers because I'm like, hey, suppliers have to stay on it too, because that's part of feeding that beast. Consumers now moving into these things, they don't want the, old school koozies. Well, some people do want koozies, but that's a different story for a different time. But really, those types of things, if you can see it in a store, they should be able to buy it with their logo on it because that's what's hot now. So we have to watch those trends and then definitely stay in contact with our clients to see if they're following those trends, and stay in contact. The next part on here, stay in contact with our suppliers. They don't know what to give us if we're not telling them what we want. Does anybody else have experience with that? are we using virtual spec samples? Are we, tapping into the product knowledge? I know some people have end user shows, some people don't.
I think
go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, to Charity's point, I think what's so wonderful about the industry is I think the industry is more modern now in terms of bringing relevant more products to the market that are on the same level as retail trends, where I think I think before we were a couple years behind. But so to Charity's point, I think that you have more, if you look at fashion and the clothing available in the promotional products industry, the fact that there's so many different types of materials and styles, and women's clothing is so much more broad now in terms of the styles available, where 10 years ago you could barely find a women's shirt. But I think there are all kinds of interesting, unique products that do follow retail trends within suppliers' lines you may not notice. For example, with SnugZ, we sell shoelaces. Now, shoelaces 2 years ago were completely dated. But now, if you look at all the tennis shoes that are out into the retail market, they're fluorescent, they're done with patterns, they're done with vibrant colors. We've sold more shoelaces in the past 6 months than we've sold in years. So I think that's a trend that may be short-lived, but I think tapping into your suppliers and expressing to them, this is the parameter of the promotion, here's the price point, here's the goal of my client, here's the theme, give us your best ideas. That's when those ideas come forward, and I think that's when your suppliers can really be a valuable tool to tap into, as opposed to just searching products online. Ask them what's hip, and so they can volunteer those ideas.
Yes, excellent. And I do want to clarify, when we talked about the beast, I don't want to be misunderstood like I think clients are the beast. I think, the beast is the beast. But anyway, sorry if that was confusing. But to this point about retail trends, I think, Charity, that's awesome that you took note of what's hot and when you were in the retail store and passed that along. I think sometimes our industry can be a little behind, and this other idea of communicating with our suppliers, this is such a key thing. We really need to build these working relationships, and in many cases, as with the two suppliers that are here, they're very much in touch with what our clients are looking for, and as we go on and continue to discuss this idea of what distributors are looking for in terms of virtuals and spec samples and other things, this is what's going to make the distributors that are on this call different from the online people, or I don't want to really say online people, but distributors that just sell stuff. We need to be on top of it, and we need to be aware of these industry trends and take advantage of all the tools that are available to us.
Well, and to that point, too, if you look at industry trends, I know I hear in so many webinars and so many articles and so many different avenues, and we're talking about it was an article that Seth Godin published, and I was fascinated by it because he said that we have to change our view of quality. Sometimes what we think or how we perceive is totally different from what really is, and the reason that it's called a trend is because it doesn't stick around forever. So for feeding the beast, even the term feeding the beast or entitlement consumerism, this particular concept right now is a trend. Just the fact that they have to have it now, they have to have the biggest, the best, the brightest. I also think to some end, and we kind of talked a little bit about this yesterday, Jeff, that it is one thing to pitch, value and upsell and constantly doing that, but at the same time, I think there is a portion, and probably a good portion, of the people that we sell to, they don't care about value, and that is something that we're trying to fight, because we don't want to become a commodity. And while it's one thing to also pitch value, we also have to understand what the client wants. The client almost wants us to just sell product, or at least they want it to appear that we're just pitching product, that we're pitching it fast, that we're pitching it great. And so, there's this weird dichotomy that comes up that, we have a lot on our plate as distributors, and then we pass that on to our suppliers, so they have an even bigger shoe to fill. That, there really is, the constant needs of our clients, the needs of our clients are constantly changing, almost daily. And so what they want today is going to be different from what they want tomorrow. And so like that constant organic evolution, that's, I mean, really when we're talking about feeding the beast, I think that's really what it boils down to is trying to be all things to all people and how to really really minimize the effect, the draining effect that it can have on us as suppliers and distributors. I might be totally off base, but.
Well, I think too that each client is different. Some people want the stuff, and others you have the opportunity to actually be creative and do some things. I personally would like to have more clients where I can be creative. They just differ. I have one client celebrated his 35th anniversary, a very large business, and he wanted the best stuff, and I was able to be creative and show them and sell them some custom things that they typically might not get. So I guess it really depends on the client. I pray for clients where I can be creative and utilize all the things I've learned through the years, but sometimes it's just about the stuff.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that really speaks to I mean, just knowing your niche, and I think that's why there's so many that's why we have lines in this industry. That's why it's not just one big conglomerate corporation. Each little suppliership also has a line that goes with it because that's what they do best. So, you know, Grethe, Sydra, do you guys have commentary on that, on just distinguishing and differentiating your clients?
Yeah, just one comment here. I think, and this, we talked about this in one of our earlier discussions, but you know, it's this WebMD mentality where you know, you can get a lot of information, you know, with a WebMD, you'll get information about any symptoms you have, and you unfortunately also very easy to end up with a wrong diagnosis. So there's you know, the fact that there's a lot of information there is also can be a challenge, and you know, there's such a thing as information overload, and I think that this is an opportunity for the distributor to, you know, provide guidance and help sorting this information out. And you know, a consumer may know the lowest price available on a product and you know, where to get it, but they may not know of alternative products that may be better suited for the particular project they're working on, and they may not you know, be aware of trends, and this is, I think, where the distributor can really shine and set themselves apart from just maybe an online distributor, where they can provide guidance and help sort things out and provide some knowledge and experience.
Well, this is Sydra. One thing that, to both of your points, that I think I've seen a trend that is amazingly successful from a distributor standpoint, and that's, you know, to Charity's point, when a distributor creates a niche for themselves, you know, when they really tout themselves as an expert in something specific. Is it professional sports? Is it organic, eco-friendly products? You know, when you really show your expertise in something that you're a specialist in, I think it really creates a lot of value for what you bring to the table. We have a distributor that, you know, at SnugZ, because we manufacture our own personal care products, we can do custom flavored lip balm. And we have a distributor that has really, in her community, created herself as the custom flavor specialist. And the orders that we've seen come in from her are really unique, where she's done whiskey, and she's done pizza, and she's done really unique things, but she kind of took one of our capabilities and ran with it and made it her own. And so I think those possibilities are endless from a distributor standpoint, to take advantage of a supplier niche and make it your own and create that expertise for your customer base.
Well, and to that point too, and to talking to even trends and to feeding into trends and things like that. There was the Steve Jobs quote. I'm sure everybody's heard it, but it's, you know, the most successful business person is the one who creates a solution to the problem the client never even knew they had. And so there's one thing about feeding the trend and, you know, working to that, and then there's a whole separate and I think that that's kind of what's obviously driving our country forward and pushing innovation, is that past the trend is being that, not trendsetter, I don't want to sound cliche, but being the one that that just thinks forward and that doesn't really care about what the trend is at the time they're going to do their own thing, and whether they find success in that or not, they can adapt their solutions to make it their own. And I love that that concept of kind of really getting into your niche and really making it work. And we had a newer employee that had never been in promos before, and we ran into a situation where we went back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, and basically what it boiled down to is a person ended up wanting 50 shirts. Well, what was their end goal? I mean, really it came down, and this is, I think, what everything boils down to, is a communication issue. Is we need to make sure that we're not just guessing what our clients want, that we are full-fledged going into it, not being afraid to ask the questions. I think sometimes, I don't know about if you guys have experienced this, but sometimes we feel like we're an intrusion, and we don't want to be a pest, but we want to make sure we get them the right thing. And really, we are providing value. We need to educate our clients and tell them where they found something on the internet, but this is what it's really going to look like, and then give them, put the ball in their court with, to make an educated decision. And I would agree, or venture to say that 9 times out of 10, they'll make the right choice. The educated, informed, better quality choice. They just have to be. We have to not be afraid to put ourselves out there as the professional and establish the fact that we are capable. We do know what we're doing, and when we don't know what we're doing, that's the biggest thing. It's kind of like the little kid in school that was afraid to raise their hand for the school teacher. Is when we don't know what we're doing, find somebody who does. And I think it was you, Sydra, on one of our calls? You said we have to go where the information is. And sometimes I think we just forget that. It's such a simple, simple thing. And I think we forget that there's information out there available to us as distributors, just as it is to end users and just as it is to suppliers. I think we just fail to use it.
I also think one thing that we haven't mentioned is ultimately people buy product or support a specific company or distributor by emotion. We all, in the end, make decisions based on emotion. So how do you tap into that emotion? What are people most emotional about? And I think that when you create that personal relationship where people are making, they identify with you on an emotional level, that's when you're really, really successful.
So would you say that also, here on the slide it says evaluate current systems and processes from the end user perspective. Would you order from you, and why? When I think about that and the buying decisions that I make, I tend to vacillate between some days I really want to talk to a person and discuss everything, and then sometimes I am really short on time and my whole personal life is a total mess, and I just want to be able to click into something and just have it done, and that, I guess that's like the universal paradox. Like how do you as a supplier or you as a distributor become that all things to all people all the time? How do you avoid that? How do you fit that? Do you just not? Do you just do what you do and let those who order from you, and those who don't, and go somewhere else? What do you guys say to that point?
Well, from my perspective, and Grethe, obviously, you go next, but I would love to say that goes back to listening. I definitely watch the rapport of my client. Are they in a hurry? Are they just asking for the specific information? If so, that's what I provide them. Are they in a chatty mood? Then I engage in more of a personal conversation with them. So I really read and listen to the signs and signals that my customer is giving me and respond accordingly.
Yeah, the key definitely is to just know your customers and how they want to deal with you, and as you mentioned, Charity, sometimes it depends on the time. Sometimes you want some extra guidance in customer service, and other times you want to just take care of business quickly. But also just not just in the point of placing an order, but ahead of that, when we talk to customers about setting up sales meetings or trying to just meet with them and maybe show them something or discuss something, then we'll we can either make a sales call at their facility, or we can do, like we're doing now, a webinar, use Skype. So we're trying to cater to the customer and you know, depending on how they want to deal with us, we're able to work with them whichever way. So you know, again, just knowing your customer and asking questions to find out and be able to be flexible there.
And would you order from you, and why? You guys have answers to those questions? Kind of taking ourselves out of taking our promo hat off and walking into the end user world. You know, what about what you do, and you kind of just spoke to that, Greta. I mean, you kind of meet people where they are, and you've adapted your sales process, which obviously speaks to the success that you've seen. But kind of looking at an all-around, you know, from the look and feel of your website to the ease of use to what happens when people call in and the timeliness of getting their orders and the product that you deliver. Like, would you order from you? And why?
I definitely would order from us, but you know, and I think, you know, maybe one point I'll bring up that ties in with this, that, and Sydra mentioned this, that people do business with people they have a connection with or like or have some kind of relationship with, and you know, we may not be the best solution for everybody. I don't know, but you know, we think one way to connect with customers is actually the personality of our company, and you know, we don't take ourselves too seriously. You know, we try to put the customer first. We think we're kind of friendly and courteous, and try to take the time to talk to customers, you know, on the phone, and not make sure they don't feel like they're you know, inconvenience and so forth. So, you know, our objective is to be the easiest supplier to do business with. So, you know, yes, I would definitely order from us, and again, I think, you know, one reason is just, you know, connecting with the personality of our company.
I love that. That's our goal, is to be the easiest supplier to do business with us. That's super cool. All right, Sydra, what do you? I know we had kind of breezed on this before. I think you said that, you know, there's certain things that you think that you could change, but, you know, you guys are trying really hard to make it easy, to, you know, make it, you know, to adapt with the customer as they bring things to your attention. Is that, you still kind of have those same thoughts? Sydra still on? Jeff, are you out there? Can you hear me? We have a connectivity issue.
I can hear you, Charity.
Huh, okay.
Maybe not Jeff and...
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yep, better now.
This is Sydra. Okay. So what I was going to say is, you know, SnugZ does have some obstacles to overcome in terms of technology. Technology moves very fast, and we have some technology improvements we want to make to our website to make us easier to do business with, as Greta pointed out, is extremely important. But I think one thing that SnugZ does really well, and that I personally think is extremely important, is do what you say you're going to do. You know, everything is very action-oriented, and we can all talk about what we're going to do, but actually following through and do what you say you're going to do is extremely important. I was in an event last week, and a distributor member stood up and said that the last time they had attended that event, only about 10% of the suppliers actually followed through on what they said they were going to do in terms of sending samples, sending quotes. And so I think what's really important is, you know, say what you mean, and then also do what you say you're going to do, because that speaks volumes. And because we're so action-oriented, and we're also, in terms of our society, we want quick results, it's really important that the results speak for you more importantly than what you say.
And I would totally agree with that. I think that has universal application, whether you're a supplier, a distributor, a stay-at-home mom, whatever. It's stick to your word. Don't overpromise. If you can't do it, be okay saying, no, I can't. And I think sometimes being a good service provider is saying, I don't, but I know someone who can. And I think people keep coming back to that person, even if you can't be the one actually fulfilling their need. My personal opinion is that you're absolutely right. That totally speaks volumes about your company. And if you can't even send a sample out, good Lord.
Right. Well, I think our approach is definitely under promise and over deliver.
Right.
And my personality is very much a confirmer. So I try not to make promises that I know that I'm not certain I can keep. And I think that's really, really important. In terms of relationships as a whole.
Right. One, I think that again, speaking to the entitlement thing, if you can't do it, if you can't be all things to all people, if you can't be that fulfilling thing, then it's cool. Like, I guess maybe that's another point we've never talked about, but I like that.
I'd like to add something, if I could, to this. This really speaking to Sydra's point, doing what you say, and our need to trust our suppliers. As Sydra knows, I just did have a rush for a PR firm, and it was like I think we had 2-3 days to get these in hands for an event, and frankly, these give me a heart attack. These types of orders, and who do I go to but a supplier who I know can deliver, and they did deliver, and it was great. So I think that's that's really a key thing for me. So thanks for that, Sydra. But I want to talk from the I'm sorry. Sorry. Okay. I want to talk a little bit here on this distributor slide and about education. And again, I commend the people who have taken the time to do this session, just to kind of maybe get a couple things that you might not have thought about that will benefit your business. Get that type of education, because really we want to be established as capable professionals, whatever you want to call yourself, promotional consultant or whatever it happens to be. These are the things that give us an advantage. But when we talk about this line about evaluating current systems and processes from the end user perspective, and I have to say, having been in this industry for quite some time, I'm pretty pleased with the way things are going, and part of it has to do with what my company that I'm involved with has set up. But there are great systems of acknowledgments and our proofing process for apparel that coming from the apparel. I've been an apparel decorator for many years. We do color print matrix proofs that, frankly, in the past we've never done, but really makes us look completely different from somebody who doesn't do that. We send email acknowledgments that with tracking numbers that your order has been shipped. So when I look at these little extra things that are just administrative type things, but they're part of the process. Would you order from you? I would think so, and I think it enables us to stand apart from other distributors, who might not do that. And I think anything we can do to stand out from the crowd and provide extra things is a plus.
I also, to Jeff's point. Jeff's point, and then also to Grete's point, I think one thing that's really important is have fun. You look at a company like Zappos, and why is Zappos so successful? It's definitely not because they're the least expensive. It's because the process is so fun. They're very humorous, they're witty, and I think that, Grethe made the point, we don't take ourselves too seriously. I think that definitely make the experience fun for your clients. And that will have overwhelming positive results.
I would totally agree. Absolutely. And one of the things, I don't know if you guys remember this, but on our call a few weeks ago, we were talking about the ability to educate ourselves. And I think I had mentioned, because I don't know, people on the call may not know this, but I represent the smaller distributors in the world today. We're not by any means the big guy. We're not out there selling to the masses. we have some decent accounts, but for the most part, until lately, I mean, this is our third year in business, we haven't really been on the map. So people come for supplier visits and we kind of get neglected, I guess, a little bit. And, a lot of people know who we are. Obviously, we're on the rise, but some people just don't. And I think that as a smaller distributor, sometimes we we don't necessarily know, or we don't think that we can compete on the same level as the big guys. We don't think that we have the same resources available to us because suppliers aren't seeking us out. And I would say to the education point that if you're a smaller distributor on this call, or even if you're a bigger distributor, and there's something that you want to learn, something that you want to educate yourself in, something that you want to do but you don't know how, start with your suppliers. Pick up the phone, make that phone call, send an email, connect with somebody that knows somebody who knows somebody, and that's going to be life-changing for you and for your business. Anybody else?
Good stuff.
Well, the last slide here, kind of on our way to summarizing. I think we've done an excellent point of realizing that staying relevant with entitled consumers, people that want it now, want it yesterday, want all the colors, everything. It really doesn't mean trying to be all things to all people. I love that we've kind of come up with the point that it's work to your niche, do what you do best, and the right people, I think, will follow. And then here, I think that's, good summary here. It means staying well connected to the resources. I think it was you, Sydra, you actually said, and I just keep saying that in my head. I'm like, I love this. Go where the information is. Go there. You have to go there. Nobody's going to go there for you. And, get connected with your clients, get connected with your suppliers. Suppliers get connected with us. And then really, really don't be afraid to ask questions. Get to know what your clients' values are. Get to know what matters most to them. And then be ready to evolve with them as their business changes, because if it's not growing and it's not, we don't want it to, their business isn't going to get stale, and the service that we provide to them shouldn't be growing stale either.
I agree wholeheartedly with you.
Right. I think this idea of really getting to know your clients, I mean, that's what really makes, and their values, as brought up in this statement. There are a few clients I have. One fairly good-sized client, they just amazingly really care about their people, and they want to do good stuff. When they do things, they're appreciative, and that's rare. A lot of times people want the cheapest item, but in this case, it's about the value, and I think it's one of the reasons why the company has grown and been so successful. But I feel like we have a partnership. In one case, we were doing quite a bit of business, and the buyer had planned on doing some more things, and he just came to me and said, Jeff, one of our biggest accounts has dropped significantly, so we're going to have to hold off on doing those things. And I'm kind of, oh, dang, I was looking forward to that business. But at the same time, I was able to go, hey, I really appreciate, the relationship we have, and I totally understand. And I've told him many times I appreciate how much he values his people, because it's just so unique. But in any event, he's able to come to me and really tell me something about his business that, most people wouldn't say. It's like, hey, by the way, I have this issue, but it's a relationship, and I go, great, no problem. Let's follow up for holiday a little closer to November, see where you're at and go from there. But this is about a relationship where he can share stuff candidly, and I think that's a good thing. We do have, by the way, some questions that have come in, so feel free to comment on that, and we'll try to take on some of those.
Jeff, can I just throw in one thing? I also want to say what's really important is asking why. Like you said, your customer expressed that he really values his employees, and part of promotional products is to show appreciation for his employees. It's amazing to me how often when we ask distributors, what's the goal of your client? What is your client trying to achieve? Who is their audience? How many distributors don't necessarily know the answer? And I think that's, as a distributor, where you can really separate yourself from being an order taker to being a creative marketing specialist. And Charity, I think you do an excellent job at that. I mean, you've really deemed yourself as top banana, you know, a promo kitchen chef specialist. I mean, you're very much, you know, that's what your clients go to you for. And so I think it's really important. Human nature is to ask why. So definitely ask your clients why. If they call you and say, hey, I want to place an order for 200 pens, I mean, granted, if they just want to place the order, I completely understand reading them, and maybe that's all they want. But I also think there is a purpose to ask them, well, what are they going to use those for? And is that the right item? And are there additional things that you could offer that they didn't think of you for that can help achieve that goal?
Well, and I guess I didn't get too far into that story, but that's exactly right. I think so many distributors sometimes don't ask. And going back to the story about the 50 T-shirts, was this client came to us, my account representatives came to me and said, hey, they want to order 50 shirts. Can you help me with this? And we need an order form. The first question I asked is, why? And she's like, oh, well, you know, they're trying to raise money for this and this cause, and, you know, this is how we want to do it. I'm like, okay, let's think about this logically and kind of work backwards. If we sell them 50 shirts, they're going to have to come up with the cost, no problem, smaller order. They might make $250 for their organization, and after all the work on the back end trying to get them, you know, something, an order form set up, and gosh, it's, you know, it's a pretty big organization. I don't know how it's going to look, you know, if we're there acting as a PR firm, how does it reflect on the organization and on us to have a paper order form going out? It looks like an elementary school PTO. And so if their end result is to make money for their organization, then let's take 5 extra minutes, which ended up being 30 extra days, but 30 extra days, and invest some time in the process and into making it, you know, what they really want, instead of just, yeah, they want shirts, they want to make some money, and turned it from a paper order form and 50 T-shirts into an entire, you know, website with online ordering, like a full company store, where you know, instead of $250, we were able to make that organization $12,500. And so, you know, they still got what they wanted, but, you know, we could have easily just sold them shirts and they would have been just as happy, but they didn't know, you know, not knowing what they didn't know how much better it could be. And because we, you know, kind of injected that expertise in there and kind of told them to slow down and educated them, they were able to do a whole lot better for their organization than they would have been able to do otherwise. So I completely agree with that. Sometimes we just fail to ask why. And I don't know why we do that or why we don't. And it's funny that you say suppliers ask distributors and we're clueless. We totally are sometimes. We send you all the information you have, but like 80% of POs are, you know, incomplete. And it's because we don't have all the answers anyway. I don't know. Sometimes I don't know what happens for that, but that's, anyway, I'm getting off track there.
And Charity, I just want to say that, you know, what you've done in that process where you asked the questions or provided a better solution, you probably create a very solid relationship with that client that, you know, you'll benefit from for years. So that's, you know, aside from just a win on that one order, you have now probably a long-term relationship that will, you know, move it beyond just this price comparison and shopping, and they will know to go to you for, you know, knowledge and good solutions. So.
Well, and you know, the cool thing about that is that's not something that somebody has to have a lot of capital investment to build a huge, wonderful working website, or, you know, that doesn't require any extra capital or resource or investment. That's something that every single distributor, every single supplier, everybody can do that. Everybody can ask a question.
And just and one comment as far as staying relevant. I don't think we touched on this yet, but one point is being you know, aware of you know, changes in demographics. You know, who are your customers? Who will they be? And also just things that's you know, happening in society in general. You know, that could potentially generate new needs and new types of clients, and so not just, you know, trends and fashion, but also, you know, what's happening in society that will help you, you know, stay ahead of the curve and be relevant, not just now but also down the road.
Well, Mark Graham talks about that a lot. He's like, go to the trade shows in that industry, get, you know, just as much about your client's business as they do. That's huge. Absolutely. Totally agree with that. Okay,
so just in the final minutes we have, there are a few comments and things that have come up, and one is that this distributor loves to go to websites and see case studies to get ideas of how to use a product for promotion. They find that to be a great tool, and the question really is, and I don't know that we can answer it, but it's a good one, is why don't more suppliers get that? Why aren't there more case histories or idea? Why wouldn't a supplier want to help a distributor know about selling solutions and how they can be more effective selling their product? That's actually the problem I have with FreePromoTips and the suppliers sometimes is like, hey, let's show them how to sell the product. Why isn't that more prominent, do you think?
I think it's time. I mean, we have some. We have it constantly on our to-do list, and as each year we add new products, old ones fall off. It's a constant, a project. But we have some. We want to have a lot more, and I think it's for us it's a challenge as far as having or making the time to do it. But we do see the value in it and try to, we're trying to do better on that. And we also, now are working on trying to get videos. So there's, there's a lot competing for our time, I guess. But we definitely understand the need and the value in that.
Also, to Grethe's point, I would say that's information that we do have available, but we haven't done a great job of making it always readily available. So if that's information you like, I would call your favorite suppliers, and obviously that takes more time and something you have to do during business hours, which I know is a frustration, but I think most suppliers have that information and would be able to readily give it to you over the phone or in an email. It might not just be available on the website at this point. But I think, like Grethe said, SnugZ is very guilty of, we have all kinds of resources that aren't necessarily available on the website, which is why I made the comment that as far as technology goes, we're trying to make those improvements. So I think there are a lot of suppliers in that position where they may have the tools. It might not just be listed on their website.
Well, and there is truly, obviously, an investment of time and money in preparing those things, and it's almost in this new economy going to be something that almost distributors will feel entitled to, like, where's your video? And I think you can only do as much as you can do. I mean, it's tough, but I think that that's certainly a valid point. The more tools we have available, again, this is speaking from the distributor perspective, the better it is. It is helpful.
Well, and the fact, you really said it. It would get down to the crux of it is ask. If you don't know but you want it, go ask for it. And if they don't have it, a good supplier, they may not know the distributors even want that. So distributors might not even know that they want that, but they might want it. So ask for it.
Right. I want to share another question here, and then we'll just go into some closing comments here. And this is another one. I don't know so much that there's an answer to, but there was a conversation here about the diversity of products that's in our industry and emerging trends and how some suppliers are capitalizing on those, shoelaces being hot now. There doesn't seem to be a place to go. How do you find, here's a supplier that has something new? I guess it's really about attending trade shows and really for the distributor to take the initiative to seek these things out. There's really not a way where all that's in one happy place, is there?
Well, at the PPI Expo, there's a new product pavilion. That would be one central location to get a quick overview. I think most suppliers would present probably some of the most innovative or exciting products there. So that would be one location.
Right. People need to, this is it ties to the title really. I guess we can't expect or feel entitled that everything's just going to, come our way. We, as distributors, need to take the initiative to go out and and attend shows. And I love personally some of the local tabletops that our multi-line reps do. There's been a few here in California where I'm at. I mean, we need to go out and find the stuff and take advantage of what's out there for us, and multi-line reps and are certainly an asset to us as well. I think in consideration of the time, why don't we move on to the finals? There's two, our contact information. We invite you to reach out to us, any of the people that you have heard on the panel here, if you have questions. If you don't know about the Southern Plus line, it's just killer outdoor stuff. We've used their products. It's a great company. I sometimes call just to hear that friendly Southern accent. I'm in California where, you know, everybody's like all uptight out here. But you know, Charity again is just a great resource, part of the Promo Kitchen team there, and Sydra from SnugZ. And Sydra has offered to provide anybody samples of free samples of their hot new products, and they do have some cool hot products. There's an item we'll be featuring in FreePromoTips next week, and so all we ask is that you just email Sydra directly, and please provide a shipping number, as there's a cost to get that stuff out. And me, I'm there. You can reach me as well. And I guess let's wrap up with the last slide, thanking our you want to hit that there, Charity, for me? There we go. These are the companies that make SuccessTracks and FreePromoTips possible, SnugZ, Orwick, and AIA, and we truly do appreciate their support. And so, again, if there are any questions, feel free to email us directly. We're right on schedule. We value your time. And am I missing anything? Would you guys like to take the last couple minutes with some closing comments here? Who would like to start? Why don't we start here with Grethe and then go to Sydra and Charity? You could wrap it up.
Yeah, just first of all, I want to thank you for inviting me to participate. But you know, it's such an important topic, and I think as suppliers and distributors, we face the same challenges, and therefore it's important that we work together. And I think we brought up some very good ways to do that, and some you know, points that we probably need to work better at. But again, I think, you know, the bottom line, the cooperation between suppliers and distributors is so important, and to have a, you know, communication there. That would be, I think, my closing comment on this session.
Well, for me, again, like Grethe said, thank you so much for the invitation to participate and for the support of SnugZ. One thing that I would say that summarizes my point of view would just be celebrate you. You know, you are the most authentic being that you have to offer, and nobody can duplicate you. So as Charity said, we can't be all things to all people, and I don't think that we can all win everybody over, but I think it's really important to celebrate your successes and to be yourself, and to really bring yourself to the table and be authentic in who you are, because people will be drawn to that, and I think that's the most dynamic way to develop relationships and be successful.
And in closing, I'll just say what they said. I completely agree with those statements. And Jeff, again, yeah, thank you totally for having us on. It's super exciting to be with these ladies. I'm inspired by you guys. The only last comment I would have is not necessarily about the presentation itself, but I think it filters into it, talking about Promo Kitchen and the mandates that we have to educate and kind of elevate the industry. That's the goal of Promo Kitchen. We want to have you guys out there talking about what's going on. So jump on our Facebook page. If you guys have questions about this, about products, there are a huge number of followers that are contributing or at least watching that page. So we would love to be that. I don't know if I'm speaking for all the chefs, but I'm going to go ahead and speak for all the chefs. We would love to be that place where that discussion goes on about how to take the industry further. That's kind of what it was established for, what it was here for. And, you know, as far as, you know, trends and that are considered, trends are concerned. Just be there, be out there, put yourself out there, get involved, connect with other distributors, connect with suppliers, connect and communicate with your end users, and just show up and rock it.
Right. Well, hey, thank you all for participating. We will have this recorded, and that will be available if you follow Free Promo Tips on Facebook and get our e-newsletter. Then the link will be up there. We'll have it up in the next day or two. So thanks again. You guys all make it a great day.